Um, so we have with us Dr. Ashwaque, who has completed MD Internal Medicine from Father Mullah's Institute of Medical Sciences, Mangalore, and currently pursuing as an assistant consultant at Gene Care Super Speciality Hospital, Kannur. Welcome, Dr. Ashwaque, for a National Medical Student Summit.
Thank you, Sajjan, for inviting me as a resource person in National Dynamic Medical Summit. I am love to be here and to talk to you some of the experiences about my field and some of guidance, if I can possible, to the people who are here listening to me. Surely, my talk with you will always give some insight onto my field of medicine. So hopefully, I am so much eager to discuss and talk the future and the plans in the summit you have been having. So thank you once more inviting me.
Great, Dr. Ashwaque. So you have the entire idea. So just to give a brief on it. So as you know, currently, most of the medical students would take a specialty based on their own perceptions, right? So what we would like to do today is get the practicality of each specialty and also give a sneak peek into your life as a specialist, how it would look like, and what challenges do you face in your daily activities, right? So with that, let's go to the basic questions. Why did you choose internal medicine as a specialty?
Okay, to be very clear, first of all, I would like to give an insight about what exactly is internal medicine. Although internal medicine is often described as a specialty that focuses the care of adult patients, the definition really doesn't give its entire stance on what internal medicine really means. Internal medicine, to be frank, actually means applying of complete medical science in a diagnosis of an adult patient, starting from the physiology, the pathology, and an evidence-based medicine, which help us to conclude what exactly a patient is going through or what exactly the patient is having it. So internal medicine is a subject that includes almost all the field of science which we have undergone through MBBS period from the first year to the final year, which help us to become a specialist in this field. This exactly is the reason why internal medicine is considered one of the challenging fields from other specialty, because it has a vast area of interest to be learned, to be executed, and to be applied in a bedside. And that's the reason why internal medicine is always a challenging specialty.
Right. So that's a wonderful, no, actually, no, that's a very detailed information. And I think we had a little bit, a confusion between general medicine and internal medicine. So thank you, Dr. Akshwash, to clearing that space there. Yeah. So coming back to the question, why did you choose internal medicine as a specialty?
Okay. Internal medicine to be chosen as a specialty as a different reason for me as a specialist now. As I finish my MBBS, I have gone through a phase of a practice where I have been an emergency medicine physician, an intern at a hospital, as well as an assistant to a physician. So through a period of 3 to 4 years, I have experienced and learned about how to deal with the patients who come under internal medicine and how they are being taken care of and how the structure of the learning of internal medicine is. So I was blessed with this 3 years of experience where I could understand the field of medicine and I could know which could suit me. So during those period of 3 years, the experience I had gone through in the bedside has helped me to confirm myself that what specialty I would better fit in. So internal medicine was a right choice from the go when I have chosen it to be my career profession, because I had at least 3 years of experience in every sector of the medical field, from the emergency department till the consultant phase. So that has given me an insight how this field and how this specialty is going to go forward if I choose to be a specialist in internal medicine.
Oh, that's a wonderful journey which you have taken, Dr. Ashwaque, wherein you spending 3 years to find your passion and making sure that that's an area which you'd like to spend the rest of your life as a specialist. So I think that's a very wonderful time which you have spent to get your passion confirmed and look into. So I think no, it would be very difficult for most of the students to, with the current challenges and the competition world which we have, they may not be have that privilege of taking their time off. So with this, I think the interaction what we're having, they may get an insight of what you have gone through, and so that they can get the advantage of that, so they can make a decision on based on that insight. So going ahead, what do you think as a specialist now as an internal medicine? What are the positive or the pros of being an internal medicine specialist?
Okay, the pros which I could say, as I said, every field has its pros and cons. But being an internal physician, an internal medicine physician, you always are in a side where you have advantage from the other specialty, because
Mhm.
as it is an advanced and a general based specialty, you are able to take care of a vast majority of people who are suffering. As this
Mhm.
field, as I said before, is very advanced, and it is being advanced as it is an evidence-based medicine. The field is being advancing every year to each and every diseases what we have known to known. So it is
Mhm.
always challenging in this field, that this field is always advanced and is always trying to do the best in whatever we know, and are trying to do whatever we are comfortable with. So it is always an advancing department, an advancing system of medicine that will always give an extra effort to improve whatever we've been providing. So this
Mhm.
will be a challenging for a person who is in internal medicine to get updated every time, because
Okay.
this is advancing very fast.
Mhm.
So that is one advantage with it, that it is never ending. It is always excites you, because it
Mhm.
gives you always very new things. It always gives you very new information. It always gives the best out of what we have been learning. So it is always an excitement to be an specialist, internal medicine specialist, and know things and apply new things, which is always in the benefit of the patient. Second, what I would say an advantage of being an internal medicine is, you are not you have not to be focused on a single specialty. You don't need to be you don't need to be in a, I'm getting calls, man.
Oh,
Sorry. Okay, wait. I'll start again, I think. No? Okay. I
it's
can talk.
starting.
One minute.
Uh,
1 minute. 1 minute.
okay, this is that. Hmm? Yeah, done. Okay, start from the word from second thing is.
Second, yeah, the second thing, what the benefit of being an internal medicine specialist is that, to be a super specialist from here, we have more than hundreds of specialty that we can consider as a future plan,
Mhm.
because every field of internal medicine has its own super specialty and super specialty, where you, if you feel that you want to focus on a particular organ, or you want a particular subject, you can perceive being a specialist on the specific organ. So you have a vast majority of specialty, super specialty, which they told you to be, and to achieve that in your lifetime. And that there is no limit for you to take those specialties, because this as the more you go, it is more specialized, the more expertise, and the more benefit for you when you practice on day-to-day basis. So these are the
Right.
two advantages what I feel an internal medicine specialist could be having, because it is never-ending field of medicine that has always been upgrading and approving different types of specialty in its own belt.
Great. So one is that never ending, which you mentioned, and second is it's keep changing, right? So so that if someone who is more in, like, a person who like challenges, who is more intrigued in looking into more varied variety of solving cases, something like that. I think this is a specialty they would like. Okay. So going ahead, you mentioned what are the pros of it, and could you also tell us what is the cons of being an internal medicine specialist?
Okay. Speaking about the cons, the drawbacks, or you say it as a drawbacks,
Mm-hmm.
it's it's the same to every doctors, because it is not just for the internal medicine. It is for every doctors, any specialty. You go through the same cons with the other specialties, so you don't have anything specific. But there are something which I want to highlight, that and being an internal medicine has it. The first and the most is, for any doctor pursuing a specialty, is about medical school debts, the substantial financial support, the investment you need to do on studying, pursuing, and finishing a super specialty is always a difficult planning to be done for your family, for yourself, and for the future planning of your survival. Because the debt, the medical expenses to learn this specialty is very high, and considering the current scenario in India, it is always considered to be the most expensive education a person can get. So that is one thing which is all have to remember. That is the one which need to work upon. This is the one which we need to make sure that we have a less burden on the debt or the financial investments to learn this. And second thing, as an internal medicine, it is the sacrifices and the long hours and the long years you put in for the work. Because as a being an internal physician, the time, the period, and the years you need to spend on this is more than any other specialty. As I told, the medical field as it is advancing, and internal medicine is being the one of the most important pillar of medical field, where it is been advancing every day. So the hours you need to put to improve yourself and to be a better physician and to be a better consultant, you need to put more extra hours on your work, with reading, with seeing patient bed to bed, with involving, practicing, as well as involving in researches, and knowing things through conferences, through webinars, through seminars, and getting used to some of the new modalities in hand by yourself, attending all the workshops. So the time consumed for learning itself and the sacrifices you make for learning itself is more, and the long hours which you spend in hospital are more than the other specialties. Hence, that is one thing which is, I feel, it is the disadvantage or the con a internal physician is going through. Then the third one is the rules and regulations. It can be a very frustrating for an internal medicine, as the rules, regulations, the ethics, all those things to be followed, which we haven't learned from the medical field, which are not being taught to us, should be learned by self, by practice. So it becomes a con for us, because those who doesn't know about the law, those doesn't know about the ethics, and those who doesn't know about the rules and regulations are going to find it very difficult, as this field is being neglected by the medical education in our country. So it is the biggest cons what we face today as a physician or a practicing internal medicine doctor.
Dr. Ashwak, I think you hit the bullseye. Very precisely, you mentioned one of the basic things. One is, as you mentioned, financial debt. I think that's a critical part of looking forward into specialty and super specialty. And of course, long hours of training, and also self-learning also, which is dedication required as an internal medicine, because there is a lot of things, as you told. It's also, there is huge updates which keeps coming up. And one of the key and critical area is, as a internal medicine, you would be dealing with numerous number of cases, which comes to casualty and also your OPD. but being very updated with the law of the land, it becomes very important, which is again one of the area which is very gray for us as a medical students, would not be much known about the practical laws which is applicable. I think very nicely touched upon that, Dr. Ashwak. So with that, all considering all these things, okay, with the pros and the cons, and the way you have been practicing, for whom do you think this specialty would be an apt choice?
Internal medicine require a lot of social commitment.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, the commitment what you have is towards the people, because that is what all medicine is about. It is about treating the people around you and helping them around to ease their illness. Other than that, the doctors have no role. But that is not the truth actually. The doctor has more than that to do. He has a social commitment. He has an social awareness. That is one thing we should always have, and he should know the local people to treat them. So a person who knows about it, who has been involved in the social services, who has been highly involved to know about the social problems, who are ready to give their time for social services, regarding they need to consider improving their life as well. So those people who are involved already and have a good relationship with the people around them will always have an advantage when they be a specialist in internal medicine, because this is always about seeking knowledge from the society and giving back to them what we have learned. So internal medicine is always a field where you are going to get your knowledge from the society, and that is what you give it to them back. So asset itself is a social service, but those who are interested in learning like that would always should prefer internal medicine, because the society is going to teach you a lot. So if you are ready to learn that by practicing, then you should be more interested in taking a field of internal medicine. So that would should be the dictum of your reason to take an internal medicine, because as I said before, it takes a lot of dedication, it takes a long hour, it takes a long years, and it always will demand more from you than any other specialty, because you are going to face a larger population in a larger problem and in a larger situations, especially the recent and the ongoing pandemics. You are going to be the front line for any institute or any medical facility. So this is why it should be a choice of your own and not anybody else, because it has its own difficulty that no other specialty will go through. But all the specialty has its difficulty. But yes, as being a specialty which deals with a enormous number of patients, this has its limitations of you to have a different career, or you to have a different uh, uh, different association with any other field of uh, specialty. You need to be very focused. So if you have that will of being a more of a socially involved person, internal medicine always would be a right choice.
Wonderful. So I think one of the key no, point which you touched on is you mentioned, you quoted quoting you, that is, you mentioned the dictum of taking internal medicine is the entire learning happens by knowledge from the society, and you're gonna give back to the society whatever you learn. I think that's a wonderful way of looking internal medicine as a specialty, and I think every student who is going looking into this, I think, interview should make a note of it, where I think that's a very key point which makes, I think, the choice of subject as internal medicine. Great. Dr. Ashwak, so we looked into all these things. Now, once someone has finished MD internal medicine, what other super specialization available for that particular person?
Uh, as I told, the reason why internal medicine is considered challenging is the super specialty after internal medicine is unnumbered. It is
Mm-hmm.
endless.
Mm-hmm.
So as you have always considered internal medicine to be the main subject or the main specialist of a medical system, the number of patients, the number of problems what we face are always advanced, and it's always been advancing. So as the period went on, from the days of medical empowerment, the medical field has been always advancing. So meantime, the internal medicine has also advanced to a state where every organ has its own specialty. If you take an organ like kidney, you have a nephrology. If you take a heart, you have a cardiology. If you take a neurological system, you have a neurology. And if you take any other organ or any other system of disease or a subheading of a disease pattern, you can be a specialist of that. And
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't stop there. Even with that specialty, because you have been dealing with a large number of crowd, you need to be very, very specialized and very accurate on some of the vast procedures, some of the vast recent advances, and some of the vast recent methods of practice. Hence, the specialty is always been advancing. So you have very good n number of specialties which are always challenging, much more challenging than the internal medicine itself, because it is advanced state of medicine, which is the specialty, super specialty. So one who is more interested in specializing some of the very delicate and advanced system of medicine, yes, internal medicine provides some of the best challenging super specialties among any specialties of medical field.
Got it. So that's a huge challenging area. I think someone who is very interested in taking that up, right? So got that. And you are currently practicing in a private super specialty hospital, right? So that's of course one of a challenging area to be in a corporate sector and looking into the corporate area of patient care, right? So now, just to give an insight in for our students, what are the different options or job opportunities available for after internal medicine for the students in India?
Okay. Okay. Considering internal medicine as a specialty gives some more other career opportunities other than being in medical field. One among the most are internal medicine specialists are considered to be the one of the best among who can be an hospital managing expert, because
Mm-hmm.
they go through the every line of medical care and system. They
Mm-hmm.
are considered to be one among the best who can be a hospital management
Administrator.
head,
Mm-hmm.
administrator post, as it is it goes through the every setup of the hospital. So that is one field which gives another career opportunity for an internal specialist. And second, opportunities for an internal medicine are in the IT fields, where some of them can achieve some of the latest advancing practicing modules like hospital electronic media recordings, uh, as well as the current approved way of practicing medicine, that is telemedicine, and all those can be even applied in the research field. So you can also have a field, a career in a research based practicing, as well as you can be an IT specialist, as well as you can also try being an hospital management uh, career also as a your future plan, if you take an internal medicine along with the other super specialties which are advanced mode of practice in internal medicine.
Great. I think most of us already know what opportunities we have after internal medicine, that is medical college or corporate or private practice. I think very nicely you touched upon something which is I think out of the scope or the vision of normal graduates. And I'm also much aware of that you have been much involved in the technology front of healthcare. Could you just tell about what have you done in terms of technology, and I also aware of that you are implementing something in your hospital too. Could you just give us some insight more into that?
As I said before, the field of medicine has been involved with every field of science. It's just not medicine, but even the IT sector, the engineering sector, the robotic sector, the biomolecular sector, as well as any field it is been advancing, is being associated with hospitals, management, and medicine altogether. So, as I've been very lucky enough to be a part of a coronary care hospital where I have been given the opportunity to implement a completely 100% uh, medical recording based hospital where everything is being recorded nowadays, because at current scenario what we have been not taught in medical field are always upfront as a challenging thing for us, because these are not things which are being taught in our medical curriculum, where we have been not used to. Since these things which will always be in advancing, and when you come into a corporate setup or in near future, as we are our country, we are going to a digital India. Most of the things which are going to be implemented are going to be a digitally planned structure. Again, call is coming, man.
Receive.
No. That unknown call.
Okay.
So the digital field is being very unknown to most of the medical students, and coming up to a practice, they are also forced to learn that which has been not taught.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody who is going to pursue that field will always have a challenge because it is something new to them. So
Mm-hmm.
the IT field has been very much into the medical field since many years, but still it's been not been considered as a part of curriculum in medicine.
Mm-hmm.
But taking forward, IT would have a very good impact on our daily practices, as well as providing us a better care for the patient. So involving now with the technology, we will be always looking forward to better the practice, reduce the load of work, reduce the load of extra accessories to be used, and it will also give us a good preparement for the better of the future, by having all the records with us, to have a better planning, and it always helps in improving evidence-based medicine. So
Exactly.
this is the reason why I also have been showing a very much interest in knowing the medical IT sector, which now has a better and a very good future opportunities which are going to come by, as there are very few of them who have been involved in IT, because the reason why it is because we are unaware of such a field in medicine which has not been taught to us. Like the law which I had told before, like the rules of the land, the same goes with IT, because as we have been a medical student, we are unaware of the developments in the IT sector. So lucky that I have been in this and I have been knowing more about it. And in future, I wish I would also consider me as one of the forefront runner in advancing IT into medical field.
Wonderful, Dr. Ashwaque. I think you have foresighted what's going to happen, and of course that's actually right. If you look into the scenarios in abroad, they have already been a bit advanced, and having such a huge population, a top second in the world. I think India is already looking into towards getting into that. I think we need a lot of doctors who are in that particular specialty and who have that mindset and understanding of technology too, to implement this in India too. Great, I think that's wonderful thing. And so I think you also have plans, a lot of opportunity you will be knowing about in abroad, the job opportunities and things. So could you just tell about that? You mentioned already in India, but what would be an opportunity in abroad for after internal medicine?
Okay. As of now, internal medicine from India is always considered to be very demanding, because
Mm-hmm.
the the number of lot of patients what we see in India and abroad, especially being in a tropical region, it has a more benefit of having a more opportunity in abroad, because we are considered to be one of the uh, medical students who face a lot of diseases, face a lot of tropical diseases in internal medicine, which is one of the specialty of internal medicine, where you are very much more familiar with those cases. So you have, as such an internal physician itself, you have a lot of opportunity in abroad. Moreover, there are so many specialties which are considered in their own zone, in their own country, which we can pursue and work along with the same time in a specialty zone in abroad, like in US, UK, and even in the Middle East. Some of them provide a better career through learning as well as working, which is very different from what we have been pursuing in our country, where they have more advanced skills and they have more technological advancements and a different way of practicing. So there are n number of opportunities in other countries where our internal medicine specialists are prospering and doing well, especially in the place in researches and in advancement of newer modes of practice in each section. So it depends on the place where you wanted to go, whether you are pursuing your further specialty, or if you are trying to do a advanced way of practice, then it depends on where place you're planning to choose. So each country gives you a different variety of opportunities in internal medicine.
So with that, I think we got an idea of what's there in abroad for internal medicine. So now coming to one of the key, I think, aspects where most of the students would be interested is what is the earning potential in this field?
Internal medicine, as I said, it's always coming from the society. You learn
Mhm.
from something from society and give it back. So it's always, the earning is limited, as it is not considered to be an field where you get more than the specialist what you like surgeons or others, because it's always about how you spend the time on your work. So it is
Mhm.
always, the earning is always equal to number of hours you will be spending to in this field is the amount what you get.
Mhm.
So it is individual, it is individual choice, if it is individual way of practice that will multiply as an earning. So basic fare for a internal medicine specialist starts from a lakh to 1.5 lakhs. But
Mhm.
as the year goes by, as you become more known to those places and you become more practice oriented, the number of patients and the method of practice, whether you work in a super specialty hospital or you work in a normal tertiary care hospital or a primary care center, the difference of the number of cases you see and the number of hours you sit, the earnings vary. So
Mhm.
in internal medicine, we will not be able to quantify a certain amount of money, as it is different from one place to place and is different from working hours to even the super specialty hospital you are in. So basic salary what scale in generally in India is considered to be around 1 lakh to 1.5 lakh in starting, and it can even go up to 6 to 8 lakhs according to your seniority of your practice and your availability.
Got it. Right. So that I think, as you touched upon very rightly, because it's mainly so the social commitment. So that's first, and then the earning comes across. So and also the number of hours which you aptly said. Okay, and it's a personal choice of the doctor what how he wants to put his time to, right? So that brings us to the next very important question. What's your view on the work-life balance as an internal medicine specialist?
So as I said, internal medicine has its cons. that is where I have always told it is the work hours which will always interfere with your private life.
Mhm.
So it is upon each physician how he likes to balance it. It is about how the physician has a control over his working hours and your life, your day-to-day life hours. So
Mhm.
it is a gray area where you are the person who decides how your day-to-day life is and how your work hours is. If you need a balanced structure, you always have to fixed hours of working plus fixed hours of your day-to-day life. So it is upon the physician who is going to decide. So if you decide on that, you will have cons and you will have pros, but it's up to individual practice what decides how your life is. As such, internal medicine is always demanding because you would be called in any hour of the day or night, as this specialties demand you the complete working hours, but balancing would be up to the consultant to manage his off days and to manage his office days. So I think this is a very difficult question to be answered for an internal physician, because it is not up to us on certain days, and it is sometimes up to us what we can decide. So as
Mhm.
an internal physician, this is the biggest cons which an internal physician will have, as that it is very difficult for him to manage his off hours or from the work. So I think that will be a difficult answer, but still I feel it is up to the practicing physician that how he is able to manage. You can have a set goals at your work home, and you can have a set goals in your day-to-day lifestyle. So that is up to the practicing physician how he will be able to manage. And that is the one more challenging part of being an internal physician, to manage his off work uh, life. So
Got
hopefully, I think everybody would understand once they sit in their seat. So this is the
it.
answer which you can only feel it and say it.
Right.
Otherwise, it's very difficult to answer it.
I
So I
got you.
feel
I
this
got
is
you.
out of my knowledge to answer to
Right.
this question.
Got you. Got you, Dr. Ashok. So I think with that, let's move on to the next. That's uh, now, what do you think about the future scope of this internal medicine? What do you see? How do you see this internal medicine going ahead, taking up in next 5-10 years?
Internal medicine as such has been always been advanced. So it
Hmm.
is an advancing system of practice. It has been always committed to advance the method of practice. So as I said, at current scenario, the public has more demand towards better care, better facilities, and better treatment plans than what we have been providing. So internal medicine as such has a very bright advancing future, and as well as it's considered to be one of the field where there are more investment for advancements, as large number of people are involved in it, large number of disease modalities are involved in, and large number of care providers are involved in it.
Isn't this valuable to know the career pathway of a specialist? Hear from experiences of 50 plus consultant doctors from across India. Get an insight into 22 plus medical specialties and make an informed career decision which will shape your future. Join India's first of a kind online medical specialty summit exclusively designed for medical students. Visit our website drsajjanacademy.com to know more. Don't miss out on this golden opportunity.